Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. This is my second video now on the topic of working out and fitness. So today I want to talk about something I kind of touched on in the first video, which was kind of about eating in college. So like I said, you should get off the meal plan as soon as you possibly can. But for me personally, it was a huge struggle trying to find alternatives to being on the meal plan because, you know, the meal plan's right there. It's so easy and so quick. And if you're cooking all on your own all of a sudden, it's hard to rely on cooking and actually making real food. You tend to make, like, I don't know, peanut butter and jellies and grilled cheeses and things that aren't, they're good and they're convenient and they're easy to make, but they're not really the best, healthiest, most long-term type thing. Also, by the way, it's thundering outside. I don't know why. The weather just decided to rain on my parade the second I wanted to make a video. So if you hear some rumbling, it's probably due to that. Also, my roommates are making some noise, like they're making a lot of noise. So if you hear some weird voices, some phantom things, it's not ghosts, it's my roommates. Anyways, so back to the point. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down a list of sort of high protein, convenient, and most importantly cheap food options for a college student. And so what I've done is I've created a nice little index called the PPG. It stands for price per gram. And what that is it's a way to sort of normalize different high protein foods based on the price per gram of protein. So I'll be mentioning this. It's a way of sort of comparing all these different things because there are going to be a lot of things. But it's important to keep in mind that's not the only consideration. I'm sure if you're watching this video, you already know that. But you know, you shouldn't, just because something is cheap per gram of protein doesn't mean it's necessarily the best, because you could be getting a lot of carbs, a lot of fat, a lot of sugar, and with that high value of protein. So you need to sort of think holistically about your food. By the way, I realize so I'm calling it price per gram. It's technically grams per price. It's grams over dollars is the unit for this this little index. I'm really smart and I am an engineering student. And I do know how to take a fraction, I promise. But yeah, I kind of made an oopsie, so please don't make fun of me for this because it's kind of silly. Alrighty, to start off this list, I'd like to illustrate a point here. So the first thing I have is ground beef, which comes in at a value of 16 grams per dollar. And you know, ground beef is pretty much the cheapest form of meat you're going to be able to find anywhere because it's really the worst cuts of the cow all ground up and put together, right? Most of the other values on this list are about 20 grams per dollar, so significantly higher than ground beef. And ground beef isn't even the most convenient. I'm just putting it on here to illustrate a point. If you're trying to eat cheap, you're going to have to look outside of meat because meat is going to be the most expensive per gram of protein. Per gram of protein, it's going to be the most expensive. So you want to be looking for options outside of meat, basically. Now, I'm not a vegan. I'm not trying to like promote veganism or anything like that. I'm just saying, if you want to eat a lot of protein for not a lot of money, you're going to have to look for options outside of meat. That's just a fact, right? Alrighty, so for the first real item on this list, I'm going to be looking at eggs. Eggs are something that I hold very dear and close to my heart. I've eaten eggs every single morning for breakfast for probably 6 or 7 months now, and they're just really good. I like them a lot. So they have a PPG of 21 grams per dollar. And something that I didn't know until I started researching for this video is it's actually the same price for liquefied egg whites and whole eggs in terms of grams of protein per dollar. So I generally mix my eggs half whole egg, half liquefied egg whites because I don't want all that fat in the yolk of the egg. I know, kind of silly, but I do that. So if you're looking to get maximum protein value, you can switch more towards the liquefied egg whites without sacrificing a whole lot of money for it. Something interesting I found. So yeah, definitely one of the best options, and eggs are super easy to make. I might make a video on how to make eggs and how I make eggs sometime in the future, but eggs are definitely one of the most convenient things you can make in college. All right, so next up on this list, I have protein bars and protein shakes. They're coming in at around, protein shakes come in at about 22 grams per dollar, whereas energy bars are anywhere from 15 to about 22 grams per dollar, right? So the one thing I'd like to caution here on protein shakes and protein bars is they're not all created equal. And what I mean by that is a lot of the times you'll be having this protein shake or protein bar, and it'll have a whole bunch of sugar and extra things thrown in. I'm not a huge fan of protein shakes and protein bars for this reason, because it's very easy to, you'll get a protein bar and it says 22 grams of protein for this bar, right? And you flip it over and look on the back, and it's like 500 calories, and you're like, you don't want to eat that. I mean, it's like, probably 250, 300 calories of just pure sugar. And I mean, depending on your fitness goals, you may be okay with that, but I don't like eating that much sugar in one go. So just sort of be careful, because again, not all are created equal. If you want to go for this option, it's very convenient. I know for me personally, I used to eat them a lot, and I would go to the gym and then I'd come back and just drink my protein shake. I've moved away from it now, and it's definitely not the cheapest way to consume protein. I'm sure you could maybe find some knockoff stuff from China somewhere, and get the price really, really low. But personally, I wouldn't go for it. I have a funny story to tell about this. So I'm a little bit biased, because a lot of the whey products really don't really help my digestive system. I was in high school. This is a bit of a tangent. And I really started working out between junior and senior year. And I remember I had like a weight set that I got for my birthday, and I kept it down in the basement. And I hated working out early, so I would wait till like 10 p.m. and I'd go down there and I'd work out for probably like an hour and a half, and come back up, and everyone in my family would be asleep. And so I'd want to have some protein, but my mom couldn't cook me chicken because I didn't know how to cook chicken, right? And so I would go to the fridge, and I was living in Europe at the time, and they'd sell these liters of milk, and I would put my scoops in, go shake my protein up, and I'd drink it, right? And it was fine. That was fine, I did that every night for months. I probably should not have been consuming that much dairy. Thank goodness I'm not lactose intolerant. But I would do that every single day, and it was fine, right? Because generally I'd go to bed at 2, and I'd wake up at 12, and it was the summer. Anyway, school starts. I have a double period of math every morning, or not every morning, but it was I don't know, 1 or 2 days a week. I had a double period of math, right? And I guess what happened when I drank this protein shake, right? It would just, while I was sleeping, it would go through my gut, and I'd probably just be releasing fumes, if you know what I'm saying, out into the ether, while I'm sleeping, right? Anyway, so I didn't care about that whatever over the summer. School starts, and I have this double period of math in the morning that goes from 8:30 to 10:30, and I think my body was such in the routine of digesting this protein overnight. Whenever I'd be there at 8 a.m. in the morning, I'd be just ripping ass the whole class, right? I'd just be tearing it up. And it was really bad. You might think, how bad can it be? It was bad, right? It was so bad. I remember, so it was a double period of math, right? We'd have 1 hour, from 8 to 9, and an hour from 9 to 10. Between the periods, my teacher would go to the windows and open all the windows. And it would be so much to the point, I was really good about doing it silent. I can't believe I'm talking about this. This is terrible. Anyways, I was so bad. I'm sure everyone knew it was me. I don't really keep in contact with any of those people. I'm sure if you asked anyone, they're oh yeah, it's that guy, But it would be the point, I'd be just kind of letting it go slowly, and everyone would you sort of see visible disgust sort of going around the room on people's faces. It was really bad. So yeah, I would say stay away from protein shakes, protein bars, anything with whey, if you're even worried at all about digestive stuff, because it's really hard on your digestion. Anyways, moving on, I have my personal favorite, canned salmon / canned tuna. Now, it gets kind of a bad rap. Canned meat gets a lot of bad rap. A lot of people hate canned meat for some reason. I used to hate canned meat, but it's one of the most convenient things you can eat while you're at college. How I prepare it, I literally take my can, I pop the lid off, I drain it over the sink, and then I put some soy on it, put some black pepper on it, and then just eat it straight out of the can. It's super convenient. It's, I want to say 40 grams of protein per can. The PPG on it is 22.6. The like around 22.6, 22.7. It was about the same for both canned tuna and canned salmon. I want to say canned salmon is a little bit more expensive usually. You can check. But yeah, it's really convenient. It smells like ass. It smells like Satan's butt crack. I expect, but it's very good for you. And if you really are in like dire straits in terms of protein, you can like eat it like straight out of the can. I for my salmon, I said that I put soy and like a little bit of black pepper. For the tuna, I generally do like some like a little bit of lemon juice, some salt, and then some Cajun seasoning. I don't know, I have various ways I can do it. I want to make a video showing how I prepare that. Um, it doesn't taste the best, but it's very convenient, particularly if you're like at the library till 2 a.m. and you come back and you just want something to eat. You can just pop it off and just eat it. It's, you hold your breath and it's okay. Okay, so for this next one, I'm gonna be making all my soy boys out there really happy. It's tofu coming in at a PPG of 24, and I know like, oh, shut the fuck up. I live next to a highway, so yeah, not good. Anyways, yeah, tofu. I didn't realize just how cheap it was. It's like 24 grams. 24 grams per dollar, so very, very cheap. You can get a lot of the stuff. I know I see it in the supermarkets. I don't have a whole lot of experience cooking with it. I mainly just put it on here to make my vegan watchers, which there totally are some. I totally have a lot of vegan watchers out there happy because it's plant-based protein. Yeah, so one of my roommates right now, he cooks a lot of it, and it's very, very good. The way he makes it, I'm sure, I don't have a lot of experience with it. I'm sure if you're vegetarian, you are already consuming a lot of tofu. So I'm going to just leave this item at rest right here. Right. Next item. One of my favorite things, like, ever. I love this. I love this item. I consume so much of it. Greek yogurt. I'm actually making a whole video on Greek yogurt right now. That'll be up in like a week or so. And that comes in at a PPG, again, of 24 grams per dollar. And again, that depends on if you're buying like the store brand or name brand or whatever, because if you're buying like the Chobani stuff, you're definitely paying out of pocket for it, paying a lot for it. It's just really good, really convenient. I buy like 5 or 6 tubs every time I go to the store and just keep them in my fridge, and I, just eat it straight out of the thing. You want to be careful though, because again, not all are created equal. You can very easily get the vanilla stuff and then rack up 30 grams of sugar in a very rapid period of time. If you like, plain Greek yogurt is too bitter for you, which I think it is for most people, what I would recommend doing is buying some honey and then just your plain Greek yogurt, maybe some vanilla extract. That's how I used to season it. And you just put maybe a teaspoon or 2 of honey in per serving, a few drops of vanilla, and sort of mix it in, and it makes sort of vanilla tasting Greek yogurt without giving you diabetes. But the thing I would say is, like, over time you sort of develop a taste for it. At least I did. I just eat it plain and it's fine. It actually has 5 or 6 grams of like milk sugar per serving, so it's fairly sweet if you don't eat a lot of sugar. If you sort of condition your body to not want sugar, it's fine. Anyway, so this next item on the list is Greek yogurt's annoying little brother. I hate this stuff. I do not eat it. I do not buy it unless I'm really, really strapped for cash. And it's cottage cheese coming in at a PPG of 28, right? So this stuff, I hate it. It has this weird grainy texture. If you've ever had, basically what it is it's like, I think it's curdled whey or something like that. I can't swear to what it is. I can't say. But it's like these little like chunks of like dairy product. It's like, what it reminds me of is it's like the texture of like milk when it goes bad. If you ever like drink it and you get like particulate matter, like, I hate this. Like, if you ever like have milk in the fridge and you like drink it and you just hit like particulate matter and you're like, it's not a good feeling. That's what it reminds me of. I mean, obviously it's not, and you can eat it and it's fine. I'm probably grossing you out. You're probably not going to eat this now, if you've never had it before. It tastes okay. What I do is I put black pepper, a little bit of salt on it, and then it's one of the cheapest forms of protein you can get at like 28 grams per dollar. It's very cheap. Try it out. I used to put it on, like, if I was making like wraps, you could put it on wraps and like a substitution for cheese. It tastes a little bit like cheese. It's called cottage cheese because I assume it tastes a little bit like cheese. So if you're trying to like cut cheese out, cut like a lot of fat out, it has basically no fat. So you can you can just sort of sub it in for cheese, and it's a much healthier option. All right, I didn't realize I put three dairy products right back to back, but next up I have cheese sticks coming in at 29.5 grams per dollar. The thing about cheese sticks, I kind of treat them like a sub for the energy bars, or sorry, protein bars, protein shakes, because I kind of treat it as like a convenient form of protein. I keep a lot of them in my fridge, and then if I'm like leaving the dorm and I want to grab some like protein really quick, I'll just like whoosh, and just grab it, and they keep for a few hours in your bag. I take it with me, and then whenever I get hungry, if I'm at the library studying or if I'm at my like going to the gym or whatever, I'll just sort of eat it right afterwards. It's pretty convenient. Again, the only caveat here is that it's very high in fat. So I don't quite remember the brand I get, but it tends to be 7 grams of protein, 6 grams of fat per cheese stick, which is pretty high in terms of fat. It's fine for me because I don't eat a lot of other fat in my diet. That tends to be, I can afford to eat 12 grams of fat, whatever. If you're, going to eat 5, 6, 7 of these right back to back, it becomes a problem because you're going to very rapidly hit, 20, 30 grams of fat in one meal, which is, it tends to be a little bit high. But, again, it's fine as long as you're aware of that. Definitely very convenient, and I would prefer this over the energy bars or protein bars any day of the week because that there's not any sugar in it. It's not going to be, a lot of times I don't trust what they say on those labels where they say, oh, there's no sugar in this or whatever. Like, there's definitely sugar in it, definitely a lot of sugar in it, right? So it's just, I think it's a better option, and it's like way cheaper. So what is it? Anywhere from 15 to 22 grams per dollar. This is 29.5 grams per dollar. So a good bit like cheaper, and it's essentially the same in terms of like flavor and cost, whatever, and they taste really good. I think they taste really good anyways. Right. So moving on to number 2, this is another one that doesn't help with the flatulence. I should probably add to my story I told earlier, I was also eating a lot of beans and quinoa at the time, 2 things that are very, they affect my my digestive system pretty heavily. So black beans, I eat a lot of these, or I used to eat a lot of these. I don't eat quite as much of this anymore. It comes in at a ppg of 31 grams per dollar, very high. The caveat here is you're getting a lot of carbs in with the protein. I want to say it's you get like 7 grams of protein per serving of black beans. You're getting about 22 grams of carbs for that same serving, right? How I treat it like a side. So if I'm trying to boost my protein intake, I'll make my chicken, or I'll make something for my protein, and then I'll sort of sub in, like put beans as a side and add 10-15 grams or so of nice plant-based protein. I'm sure all my like vegans and like environmentally conscious people are like really happy with me now for talking about beans. But beans are good. They're a great way to get more protein, and if you're eating a lot of rice and whatever, you could just sort of sub some beans in with the rice to get a little bit higher protein because it's a good source. And for number 1, this is, I'm sure, what everyone's been waiting to hear if you're watching this video, is chicken. Because chicken is just the cheapest you're going to get in terms of protein. It's like the gold standard. I feel like everybody, like, they like are interviewing the celebrities and like, well, how did you prepare to, become Chris Hemsworth or whatever, or become Thor? Chris Hemsworth is the actor. How do you prepare to become Thor? And, he'll be like, oh, rice and chicken. Everyone's like rice and chicken, right? Chicken is just, it's universally accepted as the thing that you eat, and it's so cheap. It has a ppg of 34 grams per dollar. Very, very cheap. And I think if you're trying to get in shape without chicken, it's going to be really hard because it's just such a staple in terms of like fitness, and really good nutrition has a lot of protein in it, and chicken is great. It's lean and it is very high in protein. The one thing I will say about chicken is it's definitely one of, like, in terms of the things on this list, it's one of the hardest to prepare. Most of the stuff on this list, save for maybe the eggs, you can just eat straight, right? Like Greek yogurt, you can eat straight up. Like cheese sticks, you can eat straight up. Canned meat, you can eat pretty much straight up. Chicken, you have to cook it because if you don't, you're gonna get food poisoning. Funny story, I had a roommate last year, and he got food poisoning basically like every other week. It felt like he would, like, I'd hear him and he'd be like over the toilet, or I'd hear him making some he's clearly like puking or whatever in his room, and I'd like look over it, like I'd see him like cooking, right, and he'd be making chicken. I don't think he really knew how to cook very well, and it would look kind of pink, and I would like say something like, dude, you might want to, like cook that or whatever, and he would always like snap at me like I was like, trying to like instruct him or whatever, and I was like, okay, whatever, and he'd always be sick and he'd always be upset, and he'd be like, oh, it's Subway, I ate at Subway and now I'm like sick, and I didn't have the heart to tell him that wasn't really the case, but people are stupid. Anyways, yeah, I'm gonna be making some videos on how to prepare chicken. So I have like 3 recipes that I use. One with like mustard, one with soy, and one with sort of like a not chipotle, but like asada. So like kind of like spicy Mexican-y type stuff. That's like the 3 primary ways I prepare my chicken. I want to make a video. I might make one in the next couple weeks talking about how I do that. And yeah, so that's like kind of capped off the list. I hope this helps. I hope that this gives you a better idea. These are just things I found. I'm sure there are a lot cheaper options for protein that I didn't put on this list. These are just things that I use. Right. So, and next week I'm gonna try to make some videos about working out because so far it's been a lot of nutrition. And yeah, I'm just gonna sort of keep making content. You can expect to see some more videos next week. So thanks for watching if you're watching this, and I hope this helps.